Oh, hi everyone. Let's start now. Okay, I think recording is okay. I think you can see my screen. Yeah, let me know if you don't see my screen. I think it's okay. Yeah. Let's see. Quick review. In last lesson, we learned the do while loop and then also the for loop. The for loop and the for each loop. And then we learned the class methods. You define class. You can access the method from a object. And today, let's start with a small project. Using the loops we learned. Let's see, we used, okay, use the for loops. Yeah, let's see if we can make a table, you know, the rows, there's the rows and then columns. And so let's see, 1 times 2, of course, that's 2, 6 times 3, that's 18. You know, this multiplication table. See if we can use a simple for loop program to do it, okay? Then think about before we start, probably want to, we first loop, we loop through the rows. And on each row, we loop through the columns, right? So here's the little loops program. Why don't I just, let's see, let me add a program here. Where's that thing? Yeah, here. Let's add a loops Java. Here return. So we have this loops class. The first thing is to have the main function, public, static, no return, and a main method, even though we don't pass anything to the main, but still want to do that. So that's main. We need to print out this header, this header row. It's not the calculation, is that's just the header. So to do that, and among the first thing is we want to show, okay, this table is a row time column. So this is a row and this is a column. So we want to print out a row column. And to construct that first line, so let's see, let's call it a header, row line. Let's just call it a row line. All right. Why don't we just start with empty? And the first thing is we want to, in the row line, add here R times C. So R times C. Okay. And remember, add a tab so we can have spaces. So add a T. All right. And I have that. And then we want to print out 0 to, let's see how many. Oh, 12. Okay, 12. So remember that for loop? For loop int I equal to from 0 And if I less than 12, we continue or include 12. And then increment the counter. And then we add that, we call it array column. We don't have to use I all the time. Just call them columns. And then we add the columns to the row line and plus equal to, so we know the column number, and add again a tab to it. So we can have some spaces. Okay. And then we print out. So we build this, the first row, then we can just print out. And out that print and row line, right? So yeah, now we have this program. We can save it. When you do the programming, you do not need to write the whole thing before you try it. So actually, you can, you type in a few lines, you can start to try it. So to make sure, the lines you typed so far are okay before you continue. So that's why when we have a few lines, we think we can, it's a milestone and it's time to try it, then just go ahead and do it. Oops. See, it's not okay. There's a syntax error. That's public static, not S. Now save it, compile it again. There we go. Then run the program. Yeah, so we have the, make it smaller, let me see. Well, that doesn't help. Let me see, why? Let me see. So we have, yeah, so so we better add some space, otherwise RXC looks funny. So here, how about this? Yeah, maybe that's better. Instead of X, can use asterisk. Yeah, so row times C, that's line, and 0 to 12. All right. So you know what? Since that too many lines, why don't we just make the table smaller? Instead of 12, let's try 9. Okay, so we have the top row. Then the next row will be, the first is the row number, and then here are the products of, the row number times the column numbers. So here's the results. So only the first one is just the row number, and then after that it's just the production of those of row times C. Okay. So how do we do that? So we got the first row here, and let's do a second. Second will be, so again, we want to empty the second row line, empty, and the for loop again. So we want the for loop, right? For loop. And the row line. That we start with, the row line at beginning. Yeah. We empty that thing. Oh, we want to build the rows. So then we need to add a loop called the rows, right? So instead of and there. So now two loops, one is inside another. The outside is the, we use 9. The outside loop is loop through the row by row, right? So imagine now we start with row 0, that's row 0. And then we need to add the row number to the row. So the row number is row, right? Yeah, the first one is a row. And they add a tab. Add a tab to it. If we don't do let's say if we don't do the column loop, we just say, okay, do the rows. Let's see what happens. And then we print out the rows, just like print out the column here. Just copy that line here. We build. Imagine we are on row, the first row, not first row, well, the first number row. Let's see with row 0. Let's see row 0, that's a 0, and then print out. So this second row is going to be just like a 0, right? Let's verify that. Compile, clear. So that's the first one. And oh, see the second row, we want to just print the 0 with, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the row number, but it's on it should go the vertical instead of horizontal. To do that, let's see how we can do that. Yeah. So after you print out each row, you want to reset the row. Oh, no, the row need to be inside, right? That's why. For each row we print out. After we print out the row number, we want to set the row line to empty. Now save it. Now see it, see the effect. So this block from here to here, that print out the first row here. That's the header. And then we want to print out the vertical here, vertical rows. The header line, that's columns, and the first column here there's the row numbers. So that's what we got. So we got the column header and then the row header, the row column, all you call it, 0, 1. But what we haven't done is actually the result of the row time column, 0, 0, 0. Of course, if we 2 times that, so something like that, that's what we need to do. So we got the row column correct. Now we need to add the timing between the row and the column. So we need to put the inner loop back. So we loop through the columns, and then we can save the result to the line. So that's going to be, so we got that. What else we need to do? We need to do the row time column. That's a mess. And add a tab to it, right? And see if we have the result now to fill out this big black area. Okay, save it, compile, run. Oh, there you go, like that. So this whole the whole thing here, except the first row and the first column, you know, the whole thing here, you know, the multiplication between the row and the column. So 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. So that's all from the loop inside the row loop. Okay, so this is a small loops program to print out a table. All right, is that interesting? Okay, let's not spend too much time on this thing. Here's something loop related called break and continue, called to break a loop or to continue inside a loop. So I think last time, did we learn switch? Yeah, we learned switch. Yeah, we know the switch need a break, break, right? So the break can be used in switch, and not only switch, yeah. And also it can break a for loop. So the break statement can be used in the switch statement. It can also be used in the for loop. So inside for loop, if you check the value or check a condition or comparison, if it's true break, that means no more, you know, stop the loop. Just and so that breaks the for loop. The while loop is similar. So inside while loop, you check the value. If it's a certain value, then break. That means no more looping. And so the break stop the loop, right? So you do something until the condition is true, then stop. But you can use continue. The continue basically to skip one iteration. So inside for loop, if the value is one is a certain value, or let's say here, if the I is 5, continue means go to the next loop, just skip this step. So just skip one value. So it's different, okay? And it's similar, same thing in the continue loop, in the while loop. If it's a certain value, then continue means don't do this value, just do the next value. So just skip one value. But the break, the skip all values after this point. Okay, let's demo that inside a program probably. Let's see, do we have a main program? We normally use a main program to try the different things. Yeah, let's try that. We know the switch, so let's not do this switch. Let's do this for loop. Let's do the for loop here. So we want to see, let's say equal to 5. So we want to see 0 and then all the way to 4 and then no more, right? When it's a 5, then stopped. So we should see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see if that's the case. Okay. Java 9. Oops. Yeah, so we print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then stopped. Stop. Okay, let me I just want to verify I'm still okay here. I'm resharing, don't worry. Okay. All right, so. And the while loop, see what happened with while loop. Okay. So in while loop, while is the same thing. It's the same thing. I thought it's the continue, but let's do a quick test. It's just same as the for loop. It just stop when the value is, the condition is true. Compare, compile. Yeah, so the same result. The different result is actually from the continue. Save it. Okay, let's see. Compile. Right. You can see that you want between 0 and 10, it check each value and then just skip 5. So let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then no 5. And then continue means, okay, it's 5, 5 is fine, don't do 5, continue after 5. So continue 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So, and of course, if your condition is equal, then you will get a 10 loss as well. So that's the continue. So that's the difference between continue and a break. And let's try one more with a while loop. Effect should be same as in continuing for loop. So while I is less than 10, print. If it's a 5, then continue. And let's see, that's the case. Save it. Compile the code. Right, yeah, the same 0 to 4, and then no 5, and then continue to 6, and then 7, 8, 9. So yep, it's the same effect. All right. Any questions? Okay. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can either ask or you type a message into the chat window. Let's move on then. Arrays, I think we use arrays already, but we haven't really talked about it. So in Java, you use array to store multiple values. This is not array, just single value, single variable. And then you can store multiple values in this format. So the string, and then there's a square bracket, open, close, empty, no space. And then the variable name and the curly braces that's required. And then values comma separated, use comma to separate them. If the data type is string, you use double quote. If it's int, then you don't need any quote, just the int values, integers, and then again, comma separated, and so on. Or you can use for character, you can use it because the character is a single letter or single character, use a single quote to quote them. Yeah, the string, character, or you can use a double, float, and so on. This is how to populate the array and how to access the array elements. You just use the index. In array, remember the index start with 0. So the first index is 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. and so on. So the index, remember, start 0, but the array length, let's say you have a 10 elements array. The first one is 0, the last one is 9. So the last element in an array is always the array length minus 1. Okay. Yeah. Let's put that into a program and try it. Again, let's use this main program here. So we have the string of cars, string of months. Oh yeah, small s, that's in the numbers, months in numbers, and the bigger S, that's the months in the words and character, the weekdays, and so on. And let's see how we access them. Let's add some print line. Okay. So let's see, we have, oh, let me hide that. Yep. Okay, just it's a little easier to read. Let's see, car 0. So 0 should be the first one. That means giddy. Month, that's a 3. So let's count months here. 3, remember, the first one 0. So 3 must be the fourth one. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So month 3 should be 4 actually. And uppercase S, so 3 again, index, that's the index. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's April here. And then characters, number 2 should be 0, 1, 2. So it's the third one. So the index, basically, when you see index, and in the real location actually is, the index plus 1. The weekdays, number 4, that's not really number 4. The index 4, it should be number 5, right? So 4 plus 1, that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, if you count using index. So it's a Friday. So let's verify that. Yep. So the first one is the giddy, April. Yeah, April or 4 April, and the character 2 is the third one, so that's a C. And weekdays 4, that's number 5, that's Friday. Yep. So what if I randomly pick something here, 5 there, 9 there, 1 there, I don't know, 6, it's not that. In your mind, can you guess what we would get? Cars 2, index 2. Now, make a guess and keep it in your mind, and then we will run the program, see if the result is what you guessed, okay? I'll give you a minute to think about it. So that's month 5, which month is for the index 5? And for the month in word, index is 9, then which month is it? In the character, from the character string, index 1, and guess which character it should be. And again, with weekday is index 6. Which weekday is index 6? Make a guess and let's run the program now. No difference. Why? That's because I haven't saved the code yet. Not on purpose, I just forgot it. Save the change. Let's recompile the program and run it. Let me clear the screen first. Okay, how about this time? Do they look like what you guessed? All right, any questions? Okay. Yeah, we know how to access array elements using index. And how about array length? If a small array, you can always count. But if array is really, really long, then you want to know how many elements the array has. There's a function called length. Array is kind of a class, so it's not a simple variable data type. It's a complex data type. So it has a property called a length. So when you create a array object, it automatically populate the length property of the object and with the real length. Okay, so you can just access the length of array, use a dot length, not even a function. The length here is just a property of the object. Okay, let's add that, see if that's what do we expect? Oh, I don't want to save here. I want to save here. So here we should print out the length of each of the arrays here. So let me save the program, compile the program, and run it. Yeah, so the car's 4 elements, that's 4. So for the length is not start with 0 or anything, it's just the number of elements. So for there, the month 12, yeah, the month again, 12 months. We have 3 characters here, and for the weekdays, 7. Well, yeah, weekdays, yeah, 7 days in a week. So that's all true, right? So that's how you get the variable array length. Can we change array value? Yes, we can. To change the value of a array element, you just assign a new value to the array plus the index, just index. But when you do it, just remember that the index start with 0. So let's see, oh, I want to modify the third element of array, then you want to use index 2. If we want to modify the number 10 element, you need to use index 9. So always the number of the element is -1. That's the index. You want to use the index value. Okay. So let me delete those lines. We don't need them. Oh, how about just delete that? So we know the car number 2 is Ford. That's number 2, right? It's a Ford. But let's save and compile. So it's a Ford. Then can we change it? And the answer is yes. So the cars, number 2, we want to change to, I don't know, how about Nissan, right? And then we print out and see the difference. Save the code, compile, run. So yeah, so before they change, it was Ford, and then it changed to Nissan, then we print out, so it's Nissan. So this is how you modify the array elements, okay? Or you can just, another way to, of course, you can modify this way. If you have multiple values to modify, you can do this way also. You only need to declare the variable once. So when you use it, you don't have to declare. So this time say, okay, Toyota, what else here? Honda, yeah, Ford, Nissan. Think about another one. Buick. I hope I spelled that correctly. Buick, I think. Buick. Yeah, I think so. So you can, replace everything in the array, right? So you can do that also. You can print out multiple values. Yeah, you can, check a few more. Save the code, compile. Oh, got error. Why? Where's the error from? Cars. Oh, you cannot do that. Oh, that's a surprise. Interesting. Take it back. So this syntax only for initialization. And after that, you cannot do that anymore. You just have to use the index, tell it which one you want to modify, something like that. So, oh well. So you cannot do that in once. You have to use the index to modify. Bummer. Yeah. Okay, though. That's modify array values. Oh, Java constructors. Remembering the, let's say the points. Now back to the the class and the objects. Remembering the points. Before we have the properties, we have a function to show the properties. Now, what if we add a function with 2 parameters, and then the 2 parameters just assign a value to the property? This is called a constructor. So the constructor the constructor method is called only when you create an object out of a class. Okay, it's called a special method. The method name matches the class name, right? The arguments wise, it can be empty, or you can have, any number of parameters. Normally, up to the number of properties here. If you want to, when you create an object and then assign values to the properties, this is called a constructor method. So here in this case, we add this constructor class method to the point class. And then we, let's say, take A and B two values and copy the value to the XY. And for the constructor method, it doesn't have any return type. Like this one has a return type of void. Void means no return value, but you want to say this is a function that can return something. But for the constructor, you do not want to return anything. That's why it's empty. So public, just the constructor name. The name match the class name. And that's the constructor. And how do we use it? So in the draw, remember when you create class, you use a new and then the class name. But in this case, we can pass two values, 10 and 20, and then create this object. What happened is that I assign 10 to X and assign 20 to Y. And then show, we have that again, that show the properties method. This is not a constructor. And so for the non-constructor functions, it can be any name. Doesn't have to match the class name. So let's compile this program and run it. I think I already compiled. Draw. So yeah, so this is from actually the show, and then this is from the two print lines, print the properties directly. So you can see that when you create an object out of the point class, you can call the constructor and pass values, right? And then assign that value to the XY. So yeah, you can pick any, you can put any values here. This is called a constructor. Let's have another example here. Let's see, we have a car, right? Remember the car? We have a class called a car, and then we have, let's see, 5 properties: make, model, weight, color, year. And then we create a constructor class called a method called a car, and some initial values, make, model, weight, right? And so on, a year. And then we just copy assign those values to the properties here. And then the show just print them out. So this is a car class with a constructor called a car. And with that, we can use, what's that, the car app. Yeah, the car app. In the car app, when you create the object, you just call the class and then assign the values. This is a constructor. So with the values, and then you create the object, then you can access the object. So then what we got is car app, right? Yeah, so you get the values out. My first car is Toyota Sienna, 7,000 pounds, color is white, and the year of make 2000. Okay, and in this way you can have different car. Have a different car, car 2, car combat 1, and second one maybe Honda, CRV, 500, gray, 2020. Of course, we'll show it. It's the second car. And the first car. So you can see that, you know, to have different cars, you just assign the values to them. And let's compile that. app. And let's compile. Clear, compiled. Let's run again. Then you got 2 cars. First car is that. First car again, that's because in the car here is always my first car. So maybe shouldn't say that, just like my car is, or my new car is, or just my car, whatever. So, but you got the idea. Yeah, that's how you get different cars with different values. It's called a constructor, Java constructor or object constructor. So that's it. Okay, any questions? If no, then next week I'm going to be out of town next Friday, so I will cancel next Friday's class, and I see you after that. And then we can, you know, after the end of the term, and we can use another Friday to make up the May 13th. Okay. All right. Let's see. Stop sharing. And stop the